today I would like to share with you some insights of one of my favorite books ever, The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And seriously, these 4 agreements are life-changing. And I'll also show you how I made a little reminder, so I'm constantly practicing these 4 agreements. The first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. Think about it for a second. How powerful is this? There is a passage in the Bible that says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Words are one of the tools that we communicate with the outside world as well as with ourselves. Words can also cast spells. Imagine a parent that has like a horrible migraine, arrives home and has a little kid that's singing. And because the parent has this horrible headache, just gets super upset and yells at the kid saying, "Oh my God, like, can you please shut up? You have the most horrible voice." So the kid gets scared and thinks, "Oh my God, I have a horrible voice," and never sings again. You can see words as a sword with the 2 edges. It can create the most beautiful dreams, but it can also destroy everything around you. Gossip is like a poison. It's like a virus that spreads really fast. Imagine you land a new job and someone comes up to you and says, "Oh, so-and-so is a horrible person," and you already start to form an opinion, perhaps, about this person that you haven't even met. Be very careful with the gossips. This is really up to us. What kind of agreements are we engaging with? But we can also change those agreements. We become conscious about what kind of agreements that we signed in the past. Perhaps tomorrow we can make a new agreement and create a new reality for our lives. So be very mindful about the impeccability of our words. There's this quote that I really like that says, when Paul says something about Peter, I know more about Paul than I know about Peter. Be very, very careful with the kind of words, both that you say out loud and the ones that you say to yourself, because that's an agreement that you're making with yourself. The second agreement is don't take anything personally. Always remember that whatever happens, someone says something and someone does something, it's about them and it's not about you. Going back to the story about the little girl that might never sing again because she made an agreement with herself that her voice is horrible. She took that personally, but because perhaps she was too young, and of course that really hurts, and we might not be as conscious when we're little people as we are when we're fully adults. So we can always make new agreements, but to never take anything personally can save us so much energy. And remember that misery likes company. So if someone is sad, is feeling down, is negative, I think it's even unconscious that they end up dragging people down. So don't take it personally. And also don't take it personally when someone says like, "Oh my God, you're beautiful, you this or that." That's also their perception that might inflate your ego. Imagine you walking down the street and someone just shouts, "Hey, stupid." And then if you look back, and it's like, "Oh my God, is this person talking to me?" You're making an agreement with that person. It comes down to our belief systems. Because if you have all these negative emotions and all this frustration inside of you, that's going to come out. Whatever people say or do, it gives us a glimpse of their inner reality and how they feel about themselves and ultimately about the rest of the world. Once you become conscious that it's not about you, but it's about them, you can make a new agreement and go like, "Oh, you know what? I know I'm not stupid. I know this person might be upset, so I'm going to make a different agreement from today on, and I'm going to live my life." So you don't engage in this negativity, because the more negative agreements that we make, the more negativity we're going to end up attracting into our lives. And the opposite is true. When we make like beautiful agreements, when we make like agreements with higher frequencies, the more of that we're going to end up attracting into our lives. So don't take anything personally. It's about them. It's not about you. And once we make the agreement about not taking anything personally, we can travel around the world. We can talk to anyone and everyone about anything because we're not going to have the fear of rejection. So imagine like expressing yourself and being who you really are without the fear of people rejecting you or maybe saying something negative about you and it's going to hurt your feelings. So if you don't take it personally, you can just be who you are. And I think this is what we as humans, we are craving, just to be who we really are. The third agreement is don't make assumptions. It's incredible how many people make assumptions about just anything and everything. And then if you look back about all the drama and all the negativity that you have in your life, they're going to be rooted in either making assumptions or taking things personally. If you call someone up and then they don't pick up the phone, don't make assumptions that the person doesn't want to talk to you. Don't make assumptions thinking that, maybe this person doesn't want to talk to me. It's not about you, it's about them. So you see how all these agreements, they're kind of like tied up together. Be impeccable with your word. Don't engage with these negative narratives in your head. Don't take anything personally. So the person is not answering the phone. It's not about you. Maybe the person is busy. Don't make assumptions. Maybe the person doesn't have battery or is taking a shower or is not looking at the phone, or maybe the phone is in the silent mode. Don't drain your energy thinking about a bazillion things that could be happening that might not even be happening. So you're just going to exhaust yourself, save yourself energy. It's very interesting because people that tend to be more negative, they tend to make more negative assumptions. And then on the other hand, people that are more positive, they make more positive assumptions. But it's better to never make assumptions about anything and ask questions instead. Making the agreement of not making assumptions is going to really change your life. And the fact that so many people make assumptions is one of the reasons why so many relationships, they fail. Because a lot of people, they just assume, they make an assumption about what they think is best for the other person. And because they don't care to ask. It's just like the ego mind coming out and trying to figure everything out and trying to just impose, this is what you want, this is what you should be doing, this is what you should not be doing. And the reality is, when we truly love someone, we don't want to change them because we love them the way they are. When we don't know something, we ask a question. We don't just assume that we know everything, or we assume that we know what's best for other people. We're all here to learn and to grow and to help one another, not to judge or to impose anything onto other people. And the fourth and last agreement, always do your best. It doesn't matter what you're doing, always do your best. And one of the problems with our society today is that people get so used to always getting a reward for whatever they do. And this is not doing our best because we're not really investing ourselves or our time if we're getting a reward. We're just like looking for the reward as opposed to like, oh my God, I really love what I'm doing. I don't care about the reward. So we only do our best when we're not thinking about the reward. There's a beautiful story about a yogi that wanted to reach enlightenment. So then he went up to his teacher and said, Master, how long is it going to take for me to achieve enlightenment if I meditate for 10 hours a day? And the master replied, it's going to take you 10 years. And then the student said, Master, and how long is it going to take if I meditate for 20 hours a day? And then the master said, it's going to take you 20 years. And I think this is such a beautiful lesson because not always just because you invest more hours or you hustle more, or you do more, or you think you're doing more, you're going to get a better result. And also, you're not going to get a better result because you're focusing only on the result instead of being present and actually, like with the example of the yogi, really focusing on those 10 hours and being present and meditating, that's going to get to enlightenment much faster as opposed to the 20 hours. I love this story. And society keeps telling us that we have to work more hours, do more and more and more and more. That's not always true, that the more hours that you invest, the faster or the bigger the reward. And again, if you're just focusing on the reward, that's not doing your best. If you don't like what you do, perhaps try to see things from a different angle or approach the situation or whatever that you have to do or that you believe that you have to do from a different perspective. Or maybe take the opportunity to completely change what you do and find something that you really love. And when you really invest yourself and do your best without thinking about the reward, that's when the reward comes. And remember, practice makes the master. And by doing your best, you become your master. So these are the 4 agreements, and I love how they're all tied together. And the first 3 agreements, be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, and don't make assumptions. They will only work if you're doing your best. So do your best. Find what is it that you really love doing and do it with love. Because love is just this beautiful energy, and the more that you put in, the more that you get out. It's not about being perfect. It's about doing my best today. I can only do my today's best. And remember, just because we made an agreement in the past, that doesn't mean that we have to stick with this agreement for the rest of our lives. We change, we evolve, we make new agreements, and we let go the old agreements. Here's where I put my 4 agreements in my bathroom, a place that I see every morning, first thing when I get up, and several times a day. If you happen to post your picture, I would love to see it. Please tag Quest for Beauty movie and I'll repost it. Thank you so much for watching.